Hello, beautiful, lovely people. Viv going live from York. Again, I didn't let you know that I was going live, but most people know that I go live at this time. So today I thought I'd talk a bit about what I do and why I do it. So I'm talking from sort of the point of a job or some of the ways I make money. But I would say that the spiritual practice I have is more than just a way of making money. It's obviously part of my life. But just for those of you who don't know, basically I trained to be a computer programmer. So I worked in IT before I had children. I absolutely love doing that. I am a total geek. I'd done science A-levels and maths A-level, which I absolutely loved because I am a total geek. So I loved working in IT. I love that sort of problem-solving aspect, making computer programs do the things that people need them to do and actually making them better than they would originally be. But then I had kids and I decided to, well, the whole family decided to home educate. And so I ended up not going back into IT because we home educated our children. And I'd been brought up a Christian, and that didn't particularly work for me, especially as someone who identifies sort of, at that time, identified as female. I struggled with the sort of hierarchical stuff and all the things around not letting women be priests, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't like some of the things that I saw people do, which I know is not a great reason not to have that as a spiritual practice. But I didn't like the way that it was everybody does the same thing, blah, 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 and there's a way of doing things. I'm not really someone who does that, which is weird because I like computer programming and there are very specific rules. So anyway, I decided I wanted to honour my spiritual side at some point in my life and didn't know how to do that. Didn't want to go back to religious stuff where there's a hierarchical thing. That's not really my thing. And discovered that, weirdly enough, my dad, who was a Church of England priest, had a book by someone who was a shamanic practitioner, and I read that and I got to a point in it and went, oh no, I need a soul retrieval. So I ended up going to see a shamanic practitioner and getting a power animal and a soul retrieval. And it was just the fact that I'd sort of tested the water. I hadn't told the person I went to see sort of the whole reason why I'd gone. I gave her a bit of why I felt I'd gone to see her, but not all of it. But she got back 2 soul parts for me at that point. And one of them I could see that she could have worked out what that was from what I'd been talking about, but the other one she really couldn't, and it just blew my mind and it made me feel so much better. And I also did some work around stuff to do with the house, and I sort of laid a fleece with my power animal saying, can you help me with something that was going on with the house? And something that had been dragging on and on and on got resolved within, I think it was 10 days of doing that sort of practice that I did. So I just thought this is a great way to honour my spiritual side. And what I really loved about it over the whole time I was training, which I hadn't really thought of until sort of recently, is what I really like about it is it's a spiritual path that honours that everybody is their own person. And if you've watched any of my lives, you'll know that I really celebrate that you're all amazing, unique individuals. And I think that's really important to this world, especially at the moment. Everybody has unique gifts to give to the world. And I really struggle when I see people going, oh, but I can't do this and I can't do that, rather than focusing on what they can do and how amazing they can be and what gifts they have to share with the world. So that's something that shamanic work really, really resonated with me, is that you have your own power animal. Your power animal is for you and helps you like a little, I mean, I call it like a guardian angel, which really annoys me because it's not, but people understand what that means. It's like your best mate, a spiritual advisor, guardian angel, whatever you want to call it. But it's different for every person. So even if you have the same animal as someone, it's going to be something that's very specific to you and personal to you and honours you as a person. And I think it's really important that we need to get back to that honouring that everybody has their gifts and their skills and their, if it's a business term, it's like unique selling point and the things that they've been through in life, which people can resonate with. So I just thought I'd put a bit out there, and I'd done a post on Facebook and Instagram asking people that if they had to explain what I did to other people, what would it be? And I got some lovely responses. So Beth said that I make people's lives happy, which is true. Everybody should have a power animal. It will make you a happier person. I love the fact that somebody said I was a shamanic practitioner, but Western style. So I do think that's quite important. I have learnt core shamanism. So it's based on a guy who went around looking at all different shamanic cultures. A lot of themselves don't call themselves shamans. There's different terms for it. But he came back with like the core shamanic things that all those cultures do. And that's what I've trained in, because shamanism is very much based on culture and the land on which you live and the plants which you have, etc. So obviously there's no point in me learning American shamanism because I don't live in America and I don't have those plants and I don't have those land spirits. So again, it's a practice which very much takes into account where you live, who you are, what culture you're within. So even from the point of view of the teachers I trained with used to live in Scarborough and then they moved to Wales. So the practice they have in Wales is very different to the practice they have in Scarborough because the sun rises in a different place. They're on a different part of the country. Wales is very different land. There's different weather systems. The elements are different. So it takes into account all those things, which I absolutely love. Somebody else said I love people. I accept people, which I thought was really lovely because that is something that I really, really, really value being a shamanic practitioner. It's very personal to you. Like I've already said, your power animal is going to be very different to someone else's power animal. The practices that I do are quite different to the practices I know a lot of my other shamanic practitioners do because I'm me and they're them, and what I need to do and what guidance I need from my spirit guides is very different to what somebody else needs. I love one of the comments was I do weird stuff with animals and drums and smelly stuff, which is true. So somebody who remembers that I work with essential oils, now do that for my physical and emotional health, but I'm also now exploring how I can bring that into my spiritual practice. And also essential oils is plant medicine. So that's something that is very important to a lot of shamanic cultures. They do a lot of work with plants. That's why people seem to know about ayahuasca and stuff like that. Again, something that I personally don't do because that's not a plant that grows in this country, but I I help my shamanic practice and spiritual practice helped by using essential oils and helps balance my emotions, which means I'm more effective doing the stuff I do. So that was really lovely. And then somebody said on Instagram that I was a spiritual life coach. Again, I don't have a life coaching qualification, but I have done what they call shamanic counselling, but I don't like to call it counselling because I don't have a counselling qualification either. And again, I love the idea of life coaching because life coaching is giving the power back to the client to help them find their way to an answer for their life. And that's, again, something that I find very important. I'm not here as the expert. I'm here as someone who can talk to my spirit guides and find out the best work to do for someone if they come to me for healing or they want to know more about feeling more balanced or more happy or more empowered in their lives. So it was quite nice to see the spiritual life coach because I'd love to be able to call myself a spiritual life coach, but I don't feel I can use the word coach in quite that way. But I do shamanic coaching and I would explain to somebody what that is. But again, it's giving the power back to the person that I'm working with because I don't want to be somebody who you have to keep coming back to see. So I thought I'd just explain that some of the things I do. Obviously, I can get power animals for people. I can get soul parts back. So you might want to go and watch some of my previous lives. But some of the best ways of explaining that is like if you have a car crash and you say, oh, I went a bit to pieces after that car crash because of the shock. That can often mean that you lose a bit of your soul. And shamanic people see the soul as a multifaceted thing. So you can lose bits of it. And by losing bits of it, you're not quite yourself. So I do soul retrievals and those... I'll probably link a blog post below that can be so many different things like transitional changes, like emptiness syndrome. That's something that I realised when my son started at college, having been home educated for so long, I felt a bit lost. So I did some work around rebalancing myself and making sure I was okay. Recurring illnesses, if you don't have dreams anymore or your dreams are very linked to childhood, that can often mean that you lost something as a child. We do often lose things as a child, especially in this culture where there's a lot of taking away your power when your kids go to school, not feeling in control of stuff. So that sort of thing. But there's also various other things I do as a shamanic practitioner. I'll put my website below so you can go and have a look. But also I am in a multi-level marketing company that does essential oils. As I said, I use them for physical and emotional stuff for me and my family and my friends. But now I'm looking into more using the oils spiritually as well, because they're such a good way of tapping into that sort of higher self, that sort of more intuition and imagination and stuff like that. They're a really good tool for that. So I've been using using oils a lot when I've been doing my regular shamanic journeys to find out what I should be doing for my business and what's the most important thing to do in my life, etc., etc. So I just thought I'd explain, because it was quite interesting seeing what people said about how they would explain what I do. It's very difficult to explain what I do because there's lots of different things. But I just thought I'd do a live about sharing a bit more about why I ended up on the shamanic path, having, worked in IT and been brought up as a Christian. Very similar sort of stuff in some ways, if you wanted to have a discussion with me about it. I love finding the sort of way that people are programmed, and I love seeing how different people see things differently. It was something I picked up when people were saying about how they would explain me, what I do. I just loved the fact that some people were very matter-of-fact about it and very sort of logical, and then there was other people going, oh, well, you sort of do this weird stuff with animals and drums and smelly stuff, and that I love seeing those differences in people, that way that people, the way people's minds work. So another thing I used to do was I was a tutor. I used to tutor maths, and I still do occasionally. And I'd love trying to find the way that somebody could learn the best. So rather than just going, well, this is maths and this is how it works, was going, well, what are you passionate about? Do you like sports? Do you like cooking? Do you like music? And then fitting the maths, the way I taught the maths or explain the maths, into the way they work. And that's what I love. I love the fact that everybody's different. Everybody's got their own skills. Nobody's better than anyone else. And there's always a way that you can be more empowered and more happy being you. And if you're feeling that that's something I could help you with, then please let me know. If you think that's something I could help any of your friends with, then please let them know. I'm always happy to talk. I do free spiritual health checks for anybody who wants to have a bit of a chat with me and find out a bit more about shamanic work and oils and anything like that. But I just thought I'd tell you a bit more about what I do and why I do it. And the most important thing is, every one of you is amazing as you are, and you have gifts to give to the world, and just keep finding ways to feel that you can do that in an empowered and balanced and authentic way. So take care, everybody. I will see you next week at 9 o'clock on Thursday, as always, even if I don't send out a reminder. It'd be great to see if you've watched this on replay, just so I can keep an eye on who's watching, and feel free to share it with anybody who you think, oh, they'd find her a bit crazy, or that's really interesting. It's always happy. I'm always happy to connect with new people. Okay, take care, everybody. Bye.